Whoa.
Educational games. Those titles that we all had as kids that introduced us to the wide, wonderful world of gaming, while also trying to trick us into learning something along the way. I'm sure just hearing that term again brought some long-forgotten software from your childhood back to the forefront of your mind. We all had our favorites. What were some of yours?
Hello? Is anybody in here?
Oh, the Humongous Entertainment games! Pajama Sam, Putt Putt, Spy Fox. I never played them myself, but I know lots of people consider them classics. Any others? Oh man, Math Blaster, I remember that. Learning Division, shooting space junk. Good times. Good times. Anything else? Well, I guess knowing how to fend off demons is a useful skill to have, so sure, that counts.
For me, though, there are always two series that come to mind. First are the Jumpstart games, which hopefully I'll find a way to be able to play and talk about at some time in the future, and the subject of today's video, the Super Solvers.
The Super Solvers was a series of educational computer software that ran from 1989 to 1999, which were developed by the Learning Company, who are well known for their vast catalog of teaching tools disguised as interactive entertainment. While there are a number of games in the franchise, even more if you include the Super Seeker spin-off titles, today we're just going to focus on two of the earlier entries, starting with the very first game in the series. Super Solvers Midnight Rescue, released in 1989, and oh my god, the nostalgia! I remember that guy, and that billboard, and the building back there! Ah, it reminds me of a simpler time of candy, Blue's Clues, not knowing what taxes were. In Midnight Rescue, you play as, well, one of the Super Solvers, a group dedicated to solving mysteries and who seem to have a very lax dress code. The red cap and the jacket are cool, but pants seem to be entirely optional. But frankly, who doesn't want to work in comfort?
I know I do.
Your job is to stop the evil Master of Mischief, Morty Maxwell, from unleashing his dastardly plan of using invisible paint to make the school disappear.
Oh no,
Anything with that? I mean, it's just paint, right? Sure, the school might vanish, but next time it rains, voila, school's back. And speaking of saving the school, maybe it's just me, but that's not exactly the greatest motivator to give a kid. That's where all the learning was that forced you away from things you actually cared about, like video games and Nickelodeon. Would have been a better idea to have you trying to save a Chuck E. Cheese or something. Ah! Actually, never mind. School's fine. Thankfully, Mr. Maxwell has a sense of fair play. You see, he's hidden himself among a squad of paintbrush robots roaming the school, and left several clues to help you figure out his disguise, which you're tasked with doing before the in-game clock strikes midnight. The game can be divided into 3 parts. First is you wandering the halls and exploring the various classrooms, trying to find the aforementioned clues. You move and jump through the school, equipped with your trusty camera, which is your only defense against the robots that pop up at random times. If they manage to land a hit, you lose 1 shot of film, which isn't really much of a penalty since you have more than enough on hand. At least at first, but we'll get back to that later. The next thing you'll be doing is a lot of reading. You'll find blue envelopes scattered around the school that contain short stories to read. You're then given a multiple-choice question about whatever you just read, and the correct answer corresponds to one of 4 clues that'll help you determine Maxwell's identity. There's actually a feature here that highlights words that might be complicated for a younger audience and shows them what they mean and how to pronounce them.
It's not like I needed it or anything. That'd be silly.
Finally, there's deducing which of the 5 mechanical menaces is actually Maxwell. Turns out taking pictures isn't just a defensive ability, it also gives you information about whatever robot you snapshot. Using this data, combined with the clues you've been gathering, allow you to narrow down your suspects and accuse one of them of being the culprit. If you guess correctly, he reveals himself, and you're given points based on various factors, like how much time and film you still have, while Maxwell acts like he's staring at an attractive woman just off screen and trying really hard to get your attention. And then, you dance. I love how he clearly eats shit at one point during that, but just plays it off like it was part of his routine the whole time. Those points you earn contribute toward your overall Super Solver rank, with each rank gradually increasing the game's difficulty. The reading bits don't really change, but the rate at which robots spawn and the number of pictures you have to take of each gets increased. At first, 1 shot per suspect is all you need, but later on you need 2, and eventually a full 4. It's when you need to get 4 shots that Midnight Rescue can get a bit annoying. At this stage, you have just enough film, including refills, to get the information that you need. But that's assuming you never get hit and that different robots keep showing up. But by this point, they tend to spawn all the time, over and over again, one right after the other. And since it's random which of the 5 it'll be, there's a good chance the 1 or 2 you still need photos of just won't appear, and you'll be forced to waste film on ones you already have a complete profile for, and they won't just go away. Leave me alone, Buffo! This can mean you're left without all the info you need and are forced to just blindly guess between 2 or 3 suspects who all have similar traits with no way to narrow anything down. So any semblance of deductive reasoning just goes out the window. And since you get absolutely no points if you guess wrong, these instances can be irritating. And if this irks me, I have to imagine the little kids this game was made for wouldn't be too happy about it either.
What? You didn't even let me, oh my god!
Still, overall, I like Midnight Rescue. It's a simple game with basic but responsive controls that accomplishes its goal of teaching kids to read and use some critical thinking. It quickly becomes repetitive and might get on some younger players' nerves in the later stages, but as far as teaching tools masquerading as video games go, Midnight Rescue is pretty solid. In 1990, the world was graced by Treasure Mountain, and excuse me, Mr. Nobody? Treasure Mountain is actually part of the Super Seekers, so it doesn't belong in this video. Maybe try doing some research next time. Well, strange, smug voice of myself, technically that is correct. Nowadays, Treasure Mountain is indeed considered part of a different set of games, all of which conveniently enough start with the word treasure. However, when it was originally released, the game was just another entry in the Super Solvers. It's how I knew it growing up, it's what it says on the title screen of the version I'm playing, and I didn't know all about that stuff before deciding to make it part of this video. So I'm saying it counts. That scoundrel Morty Maxwell is at it again, this time stealing the crown of Treasure Mountain, hiding away all the bountiful booty for himself and settling atop the summit. And it's once again up to you to stop him. The first thing I noticed was that the controls when compared to Midnight Rescue feel way more sluggish. The button layout is basically the same, but here the walking and jumping, especially the jumping, are so much slower and nowhere near as fun to control. That's likely due to the game's increase in scale. In order to reach the Master of Mischief, you need to climb up 3 levels. The ways upward are each locked behind a gate, which you need to locate the key for. But it's not just laying on the ground, no, it's actually hidden in one of the many background elements. Every tree, cluster of rocks, group of flowers, they're each a potential hiding place, and in order to find out the correct one, you need to capture a few of the elves roaming around using your stockpile of nets, which isn't cruel or unusual in any way, shape, or form. Some of these little guys are carrying scrolls, and if you catch one, they provide a basic multiple-choice problem to solve. Some are math-related, others teach reading ability or pattern recognition, things like that. When you get the correct answer, you're given a hint about the key's hiding place, something like large or round, and once you know what you're looking for, you reveal said key by tossing a magical coin on the ground in front of it. Coins that you also obtain by capturing elves. You repeat this process 2 more times until you reach Maxwell's hideout. So you've made it to the top floor. The Super Solver takes a magical scepter off the wall and uses a spell to unlock a treasure chest. And then nothing happens. Wait, where are you going? Hey, what the hell? What was the point of all that? Even Maxwell has this look of, was that it, or? Turns out, we forgot something. You see, you're not just looking for the keys as you go up the mountain, you're also supposed to be looking for those hidden treasures. Any background element that pertains to 2 of the 3 hints you gathered from the scrolls on each level is actually concealing a treasure. For example, if the hints reveal the key's hiding place to be 4 small bushes, then a group of 4 small flowers will also be hiding something. Has no one in this world heard of safes? Big metal containers, locks on them, require combinations, made specifically for storing valuables? Might be a bit more secure than a snowman, that's all I'm saying. Progress in this game is entirely dictated by finding these treasures, making them your true goal. Getting to the top of the mountain is entirely secondary. That's why nothing happened when I made it up there the first time. I didn't have anything to put in the chest. So over and over, I work my way up to Maxwell's abode, collecting all the treasures I can along the way. This stuff must be incredibly valuable if this guy was so dead set on taking over an entire mountain for himself. Let's see what kind of riches I've discovered during my journey. We've got a pig, some shoes, a paddle ball, birthday cake, another pig, a dog, sailboat, some juice. Clearly you can see why someone would be after this stuff, right? I mean, these things must be worth a fortune! Finally back from my expedition. Months of blood, sweat, exhaustion, lost friends.
But at least I finally have my priceless artifacts.
Like before, as your Super Solver rank increases, so does the game's difficulty. At least in theory. The only things that really change are the maximum number of treasures you can find per run, and the formerly passive elves start actively trying to steal coins from you. Now, this might seem like a problem, as you only have so many coins, which not only reveal hidden objects, but if you're running low on nets, you can trade in some coins to get more. So once you're out of coins and nets, you're basically screwed, right? Not so, actually, because the game will spawn free coins on the ground if you're ever running short, so it's literally impossible to get stuck. Which also means there's no feeling of challenge. And that's really the big problem I have with Treasure Mountain. Once I got over my nostalgia for it, it quickly became a real slog to get through. Midnight Rescue was repetitive, sure, but it felt snappy. Each run was quick, lasting maybe 5-10 minutes tops, and while your limited amount of film could lead to some annoyance in the later stages, it also added a sense of panic or urgency to your encounters with Maxwell's minions. You didn't want to get hit, you didn't want to lose film, and that made it somewhat engaging throughout. But in Treasure Mountain, there is no urgency. Everything is slower paced, each run feels like it drags on, becoming boring. There is no danger, or even a way to lose. You just walk in circles waiting for scroll elves to show up, which can sometimes take seemingly forever, by the way. Find the treasures, make it to the top, and that's about it. There's no real skill involved. You could argue that makes it a good, laid-back game for the kids it was made for, and I'll concede to that, but I think even young players would want something a little more exciting before too long. I'm sorry, Treasure Mountain. You'll always have a place in my heart, but I just don't feel strongly about you these days.
And with that, we come to the end of my take on 2 entries in the Super Solver series. Don't worry, I do plan on getting to the rest at some point. There are a lot of games to cover, after all. Be sure to let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. And if you want, share your favorite educational game from your childhood down there as well. Thank you for watching. If you'll excuse me, I need to get someplace warmer. It suddenly got very drafty in here.